Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new Blacklist reaction and review. This is a double header, a double review, if you will, because tonight NBC on its new night and Thursdays graced us with season 10, episode 15, The Hat Trick, and season 10, episode 16, Blair Foster. And
Mm.
the latter is clearly, I think, the episode that we'll probably spend more time on. Let's just make that clear here from the get-go.
Absolutely. What a cool character. I mean, she's going to be a problem.
Like, full disclosure. I mean, we saw at the start of it, her next to the oh so mysterious number two. Like, this is basically the last higher up on the blacklist sort of person that the show had to reveal. And I
Mhm.
was sitting here for the first like 5 or 10 minutes of this episode being like, okay, is this going to be one of those things where I got really excited about it? And it's just like, all right, kind of like the Hat Trick's such a cool name. The Man in the Hat is such a cool name. These will be big bombshell episodes.
Yeah, but then it turns out Blair Foster, I mean, what a cool character. I can't stop with her. She is so exciting to me. Like, she's so dangerous and like charismatic, and she has so much power. Like, she feels like a really good opponent to be going up against Red. Like, this is somebody who is going to give him a challenge.
Can we just get rid of Arthur Hudson then and just have Blair Foster be like the potential big bad?
Yeah, I mean, clearly he just feels like he doesn't really know what's going on.
It's okay.
If he's number two, it's gonna be a very different video.
Oh no, oh no. I yeah, I'm worried. I'm really worried at this point. And he's just okay. You know what? I've got a rant on Hudson. We'll do this in just
Oh,
a second. Okay, but before we go any further here, be sure to check out our Patreon. We've got a link for you guys in the description below. And in addition to all of the great exclusive Blacklist coverage over there, we have a new video that has just dropped all about who are some of the important characters that could be coming back before
Mhm.
this final season concludes. We have compiled a lot of information and we hope you guys check that video out, subscribe to our Patreon, and thank you so much for the support. We really do appreciate it a lot.
We really do appreciate. Thank you to everybody who's already joined our Patreon and part of those videos. It's been really wonderful and overwhelming for us to see the support from you guys. It means so much to us. And if you are looking for another sort of mystery show, one of the ones that
Yeah.
we're covering here right now at the channel, which is so good, is called Silo. And I know that we're going to be moving away from Blacklist because we're losing the
Yeah.
show. But there are other really great mystery shows out there like Silo. And thank you to everybody who's been giving us suggestions. Keep them coming.
Yeah, that's something that's definitely going to help us all kind of keep this discussion going. And let's keep the discussion going now on Congressman Hudson because
All right.
I have decided he sucks. Like I'm not going to wait any longer. It's just that it's funny because he's a congressman, but he has no charisma. Like even in this
I noticed the
episode,
same thing. No charisma and really quiet. And
yeah,
like, I don't get it.
like this dwarf guy is doing like almost all the talking in a lot of these different scenes that Hudson is in, and maybe he's just the strong silent type and it's all bubbling underneath the surface. And it's like even in the first episode we find out, oh, he's just sort of helping this woman out after everything she has gone through. He
Mhm.
just There's nothing about him that is just like popping off the screen, making me think that he is formidable. I mean, he seems like he's a relatively smart enough government official who I guess is not as shady as some others we have seen on this show over the years. And it's just like, that's well and good. But, you're comparing him at this point, you're putting him on this pedestal of, okay, you're going to be a big bad for this final stretch of the Blacklist. We are meant to be comparing him to Wu Jing. We are meant to be comparing him to Marvin, to Mr. Kaplan, to Alexander Kirk, to Berlin, to like all of these great enemies we have seen over the years. I mean, even if you want to say that Tom is an enemy, like he's not on the same level as any of them. He's not in the same ballpark. He's in like a merry-go-round that's like 3 miles away, just going around in a circle.
Yeah, I think part of the issue is in this first episode tonight, we did learn that he's, a helpful guy, and that he put away this young woman's parents and felt bad and wanted to be able, it's not her fault, and wanted to help her, Abby Ryder, give her, clothing or books or help her with school or whatever. It's fine to have him be like not squeaky clean, but like a helpful guy, that somebody went into, government to be helpful and try to do the right thing. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you have to be boring or quiet or not have charisma. There's lots of people who, have lots of charisma and still do really good things. It's just, it seems with not just this show in general that it's kind of hard to have somebody who is a do-gooder and like not make them boring. Ted Lasso was a great show that was able to show that you can be a good person, a good guy,
Yeah.
do the right thing, and still have personality and fun and charisma that comes along with that. It can be done. But then, here we are with Hudson, where it's just like, he's quiet and brooding, but a good guy. It's like, okay, well, he's supposed to be like the big guy going up against Red. Well, where is he? Who is he?
Maybe Blair is just gonna like extract the interesting stuff out of him now, that based on like that phone call at the end of the episode where she's just like, you and I need to have a talk, and I'm just sitting here being like, task force, I know you guys did what you had to do to like get the dwarf, and you had to make this sort of arrangement, but it's just like, you let her just like go off and walk into the wild. She's just like evil Olivia Pope, who is just like fixing all sorts of problems and causing other problems and compiling all this information.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised that somehow, some way, Red didn't find out about that and then just take care of her or find a way to take care of her. I mean, maybe they're saving that for the next episode where it's like, oh, we dealt with one problem and, Red was able to help the way that he normally does with this one problem, but now there's a bigger Blair problem. Man, she's great.
Yeah, she's really fun. Like even everything with the like her trying to like get inside wrestlers' heads. She's really good at sort of just talking to different characters, give them what either they want or what she thinks that they could want.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing too important that is important to remember here, and this is me at least playing devil's advocate with myself a little bit when it comes to our good old buddy here, Arthur Hudson. It's just that you play the law of averages here. Raymond Reddington and the task force, they have taken down hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are significantly more twisted, obviously, than Hudson. We're talking about the stew maker, evil robots, insects flying out of people's mouths, like all of that sort of stuff. Ultimately, eventually somebody is going to be able to get the one up on them, and eventually something is going to happen that really puts this organization in more jeopardy than before. It's just inevitable.
I think what I found the most interesting about it was that, these two guys brought Panabaker and Cooper up to a judge to be like, okay, present both sides. Why should you be able to keep things private with this task force? Why should you get the information with this task force? And after reviewing all the information, the judge is just like, I'm 100% over here with Cooper and Panabaker. You guys need to not know this. It is in the best interest of the work that they're doing for this not to be out there. And I understand Dorf is just looking for what he's looking for. He's looking to be able to, rise up and, have a big speaking platform on everything. But that wasn't what Hudson was looking for at all. He was looking to find out why the money was going there. But if a judge is like, okay, I've seen it. I've seen what it is. The money is being allocated properly. You have, Panabaker as a senator being like, it's being allocated properly.
Yeah.
Like, how much more does Hudson need? Like, why is he still chasing it where it's, we don't care what this judge said. We're still running after this. It's not the same motivation as it was for Dorf. So what is his motivation now?
Maybe it is just what Panabaker said and what she actually took from me, because I already said this a week ago. Panabaker, I know you're watching these videos clearly. He's a dog with a bone. It's like, yes, he's a dog with a bone. We have all made this very, very clear. I think that's a part of it, is that he's obviously just like really obsessed with this because he spent a lot of time studying it. But
Right, but if he's also like this good guy trying to do the right thing, and this judge is like, I've seen the stuff, they are doing good work, this is helpful for us, for our country, then what's the bone about anymore? I think this is sort of where it's kind of falling apart for me, is we don't know enough about Hudson and what he's doing and what's motivating him at this point.
let me just get some tinfoil, put it right there. Okay.
All right. Here's the tinfoil. Let's go.
Something's going to come out with Hudson. And this is the show just pulling a little trickery on us, where they want us to be, I am falling right into their trap, where they want me to be on here whining and belly aching that this guy is not interesting, not charismatic. They want me to believe this. And then some really crazy twist is going to come out in a couple of episodes that's going to be like, you fool. And they're going to make me feel really silly for thinking this way. And he will turn out to be interesting, but in true Blacklist fashion, sometimes they take a lot longer to get there than they probably should.
I think it's also hard because we had, Blair Foster, who was very charismatic and very engaging, and there was so much around her. It was like, you're eating this delicious cake, and then you've got Hudson, who's just not talking and not really, participating in anything, and just kind of being like, who are you? Why would I take this call? I'm going home.
Speaking of, eating things, can we talk about the Brazil nut moment for a second here? Because nothing has ever been more relatable in my life than not wanting to eat the Brazil nuts and just leaving them. Listen, Reddington, I know me and Raymond Reddington, we got a lot in common. We're both bald. That's about it. But apparently also it is the Brazil nut moment. But okay, in general, I'll say one of the things I really liked about these two episodes is that it did give us a chance to see a wide array of different characters getting to do stuff, including some people we haven't seen in a while. It's good to have Manny back, even if it's just like for a small window of time. I am convinced that David Zayas, aka Batista, has been on every single show ever made.
I have no problem with this. That's wonderful. He's amazing.
No, it really is. And I like that. I like that we got Weecha back so soon as well.
I was surprised that she was back this soon, but Raymond is also a dog with a bone. He really wants her back. And,
Okay.
I really wish that we had a chance to see what was in the note, but I mean, the look on her face and the smile, I mean, we really got that. Whatever it was that he said, this private moment between them really touched her.
You could have just pulled off a move from one of, Spader's contemporaries here, John Cusack. Go outside Weecha's place with the boombox, start playing Peter Gabriel. You can win her back, Raymond. Really? Why did you put yourself in this position in the first place? Are you just so oblivious to what it is that you want?
Yeah, I think it's just a tough situation.
I think clearly he is at a spot now, and we've seen this play out a little bit throughout much of this season, where he is really reflective of where he is in his life. And I think in doing this, and a lot of people who have gone through this sort of reflective period, you sort of realize that maybe you want things you didn't really realize. You wanted Raymond as a man of many aromantic dalliance, we can say, over time, that maybe he was just like, you know what? There was something there with Weecha. I really messed this up. I should have find a way to bring her back sooner. And now here we are, where I'm having to slip, letters to Manny.
Yeah, and it's interesting because last week when we saw Weecha, I thought that was the kiss of goodbye. I didn't think we were going to see her again. I thought that was goodbye. And then here we are, right? With this, he's still sort of pursuing her, leaving her these notes. These notes are making her smile. I really thought there was going to be kind of a wrap up near the end here, where maybe he had this companionship with Sia that, we've all been seeing for the past few episodes. So even at the beginning of that first episode tonight, when he was just like, man, it's really a drag that she's back at the post office, because I've been enjoying this companionship with her so much. And she was too, what adventures are we going on today? And I really felt like that's where it was moving to the end of the season, that we might have not them romantic, just companionship and enjoyment of their friendship. But now it might be Weecha. I really didn't think she was going to be back.
Can can we just have, Reddington can have the romantic companionship with Weecha, just have the friendship with Sia, just bring her back. And I feel like some of
He'd
Reddington,
just be traveling around the world with his women.
yeah, this is not surprising at all with Raymond Reddington. And I think Sia, maybe a little bit of Reddington rubbed off on her in a little way. I felt like she was pretty intense in some of those back and forth scenes with the suspects in that first hour, being like way more hard than she was when we first saw her. And it's the Raymond Reddington effect. He gets you to see the world in a little bit more of a gray area. But yeah, she looked kind of bummed to be back at the task force, and just like, no offense to our to everyone else who was already there, her being wrestler, but she was just like, meh.
It was nice to see more of Wrestler and, him working, being a sponsor, and how that's really fulfilling for him, and him going to meetings himself still. And they're really showing a lot of that on this show that feels like it's legitimately building towards something, like that he's no longer going to be with the task force. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to end up with the task force, because how is there a task force if there's no Reddington and there's no more show? Like, it's just, it feels inevitable it's going to get shut down. And, maybe this is where we're going with Wrestler.
It would make a little bit of sense if he's just like opening up some other sort of center to help more people. I mean, I guess it's possible that he ended up being a congressman since that idea was brought to the table,
No,
but
I hope not.
yeah, I think that's not really where his heart
It's
is.
like all of a sudden in the last reel, it's gonna pop up the Congressman Wrestlers. Just
Yes,
like, wow,
that's
okay.
that's the real
That just
spinoff.
flew in from, nowhere.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going in that direction either. But I will say, and this is whether it's the show making me paranoid or it's all the comments that we've seen over the past month or so being like, there's something up with this guy, the wrestler spending time with. There were a couple of moments where he's talking to him and then he hung up the phone, and the cut, it made me think like, oh, here comes the guy out to talk to Hudson or something. I really was worried during this episode, I will be honest.
Oh yeah, you guys in the comments have made me paranoid as well that there's something more to it, but I truly in my heart think that there's nothing more to it except that they are building up Wrestler's endgame.
Okay, let's talk about another couple of moments through these two episodes that had me alternating between trying to catch my breath and feeling extremely paranoid. Because, one of the biggest ones that we've talked about time and time again throughout all these videos is Raymond Reddington sick? Like, what's going on with him? And we have this conversation at the end of the hat trick after we get through all these ho-hum cases where Dembe just basically puts it out there. Like, are you okay? You have just given a ton of your money up to charity, and
Half his fortune.
yeah. And don't get me wrong, Reddington. I am also a very big proponent in helping endangered species. Let's make sure that this world still has biodiversity so that, our future generations can actually see that there's more than humans out there. Like, that's all great. But this is a lot for Reddington at one time. And, he tries to brush off Dembe, but I think, Red, you got to realize that when you're doing things like this, people are going to ask questions. And Dembe, I know he doesn't work for you anymore, but he's still your pal. He still cares a lot for you.
And Dembe was around when Reddington was sick. The
Yeah.
whole he's sick and now all of a sudden poof, it's gone. He was around for that. So, I mean, I understand that he would be the one to be worried about him, to kind of be like, do you need to tell me something? Like, I've been down this road with you already. And now it's even bigger because now you're giving away your fortune, selling your houses. You're not bringing us any more blacklisters. You're just like what is going on with you? But yeah, Red just kind of brushed it off. I mean, I think we all expected that that's the way it would be, where he'd be like, I'm fine.
I still have my concerns that you're not fine, Reddington, but we talked about this after the last episode where there's not really any actual physical evidence that he's sick. And so at a certain point, it just comes to me with like yelling at a brick wall, something that I think is actually going to happen. And instead, I'm just going to strain my voice.
Yeah, I'm feeling less and less and less like he's sick and really like he's paring down his life. That he, I think Anne's time on this show was really significant in showing him what he wanted for himself in his, retirement from crime, that he just wanted to be a regular person, not on the most wanted list, almost like, a famous celebrity who's just like, man, if I could turn back the clock a little bit and have like a quiet life somewhere, is that even possible anymore?
A lot of this motivation is tied to Agnes, and this
Mhm.
brings me to my other very paranoid moment. We didn't actually see Agnes in these episodes, but she was brought up. But the lack of actually seeing her, and the fact that Congressman Hudson is basically just like Congressman $2 white bread you buy at the grocery store that doesn't have any flavor to it. It's just
Oh,
like I'm
ouch.
sorry, Hudson. You gotta win me over. You are no sourdough. I'm sorry, but ultimately, is anything gonna happen to Agnes? I've been so worried that like she was gonna get like captured or taken or like there was.
Hey, we still have a bunch of episodes left.
It's true. It's true.
Everybody put on your hard hats.
Okay. It's just that they have spent so much time with her that they have made me feel like she's gonna be like this big legitimate part of the end game, and then her not really being here in these couple of episodes plus where we are with Hudson right now, it is leaving me in this spot where it's just like there's not that much of the show left. Where are we actually going here?
We also saw Blair, threatening someone else's kid. So, I mean, this isn't out of her wheelhouse.
No, it's not. And she already knows a lot, obviously, about Cooper, about the task force, about all of the inner operations here. So it's clearly something that maybe we should just like at the very least put a pin in, and maybe we will come back to it a little bit later.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, though, are probably in agreement that, these two episodes as a whole, I don't think they were the worst episodes of this season by any means. Like,
No.
even the hat trick, I think because those cases were so fast, it was just like, okay, we're not spending too much time on any of this stuff that doesn't really matter. So I felt like they were pretty fastly paced. These 2 hours went by. We at least got one really good blacklister out of it.
Yeah, we really did. Like, I'm not mad about it. The first episode, it was okay. I mean, it was leading to another sort of loose end in Reddington's life that he's trying to tie up, that he wants to make sure that he gives this money to this charity, but he doesn't want, people on the board that are gonna spend it or pocket it or do something bad with it. So, there was movement in everything that Reddington is doing to get to whatever his end goal is. But man, bringing in Blair in that second episode was just like a ride.
Yeah, and a ride I think we all so desperately needed now as we careen towards the end of all of this. But do not worry, we will have a preview coming up for episode 17, which
Yep.
has another you've got marbles in your mouth sort of name that is very boring and not altogether easy to say. So,
Yeah, but be on the lookout for that preview. We'll have that up tomorrow, Friday for you. So, you've got that to look forward to.
yeah.
Also, head over to our Patreon if you want more Blacklist content. We have quite a few videos over there, plus the brand new one that we just dropped tonight.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.